take a moment to stop and talk about where we're at. This base you saw that it was part of a 3-pack of wooden circles that have a little rim here. It's the largest one. I'm going to be putting some little feet on the bottom, and I'll explain why in a moment. My husband cut out of 1/4-inch plywood the top. The gold that I chose, I wanted it to really look metallic, and Pentart's metal pigment, man, it does the trick. Now, normally you mix this with a product that's meant for mixing the pigments in, but I did not buy that. I had Pentart's Heavy Body Gel, which is a very thick glue, and you can mix so many things in it. So since I had this, it's getting all over me, I decided that I would just use that. Now the next base, which is a little bit smaller, as you can see, I put the LED strip lights on it. I was hoping 2 would fit, but I had to use 3. This is not going to rotate. I will be drilling a hole in the center so that my music box will fit down in there, which is why I'm going to have legs on this to raise it up a bit, because I only want a tiny gap between this circle and the next 2. So this one will be next, and then this will be the top where the actual reindeer will go. I've used a gloss white paint, started with gesso to prime everything, and then used a gloss white paint on the top here and the edges, and then on the edges of these. This board on the top was actually a pack of 14-inch circles that I got at Hobby Lobby. Now that one fit exactly, but for this one, again, I had to make it smaller, and my husband cut it. Is it perfect? No, it's really hard to cut perfect circles. But anyway, then we have the edges a little bit smaller than what's on the base. So the music box, this is for making a little music box. Wind up. Okay, so this is going to be glued onto this. The music box will be down in here, and it will be glued to these 2 pieces. So when it's finished, you'll have to pick up this whole piece, turn it over to not only turn on all the lights, but to also wind this piece. So basically, let's just go ahead and do it for a sec. At the very beginning, I was stacking wood on top of the little music box to see if it was going to be strong enough to turn everything, and it is without a problem. Now my reindeer will go here, and then I've got the top to deal with, and I've got the middle to try to make. The middle will be next. I've got to do that next to figure out how I'm going to do everything, because the lights that will be up inside the canopy all have to come down through that center, through these bases, and underneath here so that they can be turned on. Now for the topper, let's take a look at it. It too is one of a pack of the 3-pack of wood. I already had 2 out of 3 because I had used the largest one for my chateau bed and breakfast. But anyway, I glued this rim, this ring that was off of a beat up round canvas. Originally, this was going to be my base, but then the more I thought about it, I thought, no, I didn't like where it was going, and I thought I'll use it for the top. Couldn't get this out. Didn't matter anyway because I intend to put some lights right here. And then that will totally be covered up. What it will be covered up with are these little cards that I purchased at Hobby Lobby, and they'll be decorated. Now you see that they had little holes, which is why I used the mix of Mod Podge 50/50 and gesso to give it more strength, but also to try to fill in that little hole. I'm going to have to add more to that, although I think my trim pieces are going to cover that. But anyway, I will be adding a little bit more, painting these the shiny white, just gloss white acrylic paint, and they will be mounted all around the side. It's going to be a very tight fit. In fact, I'm going to have them touching, and I may have to add some kind of detail here to make it work out. The next challenge, other than the circle piece, will be the topper, and I'm going to have to try to sew a material piece that will come up like a cone, like on a normal carousel. So let's talk next and get started on the center pole. I really didn't want to have just a round center element there. It would have been a lot easier if I had used something round, because I could have just cut like one of those heavy-duty cardboard mailers that, you know, like architectural plans come in. But I really wanted an octagon, an 8-sided octagon, because of how I was going to decorate it. And then I needed a top octagon that was going to be a little bit bigger, because I'm going to be cutting into it in each section and putting some variegated, well, it's not really variegated, but some white paper type product behind it and lighting that part up. So what was I going to use? I thought about using the polystyrene, but it just wasn't going to work right. So I decided, looking around my stash of stuff, I saw this cardboard mailer, which is a good thickness, and I think it's stiff enough that it will work. Plus, I could create little flaps at the bottom and the top to glue it securely to the base and then to the underside of the top of the canopy. So here I'm just measuring, cutting, and creating the bottom part, and then I will do the top part and then work on the clay pieces that I'm going to be using on it.
Christmas time, I light up a fire, gather friends and family, have a bite to eat and some Christmas sweets, chilling out and watch TV, wrapping up the gifts with my fingertips, making up some fancy rhymes. So fancy. Just got something fun for my special one, but my love don't cost a dime. Waiting for Santa to come, he'll be knocking on my door. Treat the old and the young, I hear sleigh bells in the snow. Holding on to a bunch of reindeer, he'll be making his rounds, working harder for every year. When the Christmas spirit's all over town, I'm not one of them, the three wisest men, but I got an open heart. If you feel alone, just stop by my home. I don't care about who you are. If you make the trip, have a little sip, talking about the good old times, how they did it then, back in Bethlehem, when the legend came to life. I'm waiting for Santa to come, he'll be knocking on my door. Treat the old and the young, I hear sleigh bells in the snow. Holding on to a bunch of reindeer, he'll be making his rounds, working harder for every year. When the Christmas spirit's all over town, gifts with my fingertips, making up some fancy rhymes. So fancy. Just got something fun for my special one, but my love don't cost a dime. Waiting for Santa to come, he'll be knocking on my door. Treat the old and the young, I hear sleigh bells in the snow. Holding on to a bunch of reindeer, he'll be making his rounds, working harder for every year. When the Christmas spirit's all over town, when the Christmas spirit's all over town.
It's time for me to find the center of each of the wooden circles. The first thing I'm doing here is adding some tape to the top of the base. And I'm doing that for two reasons. One, in case I mess up. And the second one is because I need to draw a circle a little bit larger than the music box. And when you use tape on really fairly thin wood, and you're cutting and you cut through the tape and the wood, it helps to keep the wood from splintering. Even though this will be covered up, I'd like to have a nice non-splintered circle. So, using two items, a framing square, which is what I have there, and a speed square. The speed square has a little lip on the edge of it, and so I'm hooking that lip to the bottom of the framing square. I'm going to have to pick it up a little bit so that it's level. And then you put your circle inside, touching the two edges of the framing square. Line up the 45 on the speed square right in the corner of the framing square. Make a mark. Then you just rotate your circle somewhere around close to 90 degrees. It doesn't matter a whole lot. Do the same thing again and mark a line. And that's the way you find the center of a circle when it's not paper that you can fold and find the center. It's now time to get the 5 reindeer ready to go. I used amazing casting resin to pour the reindeer out of the IOD Jingle Mould. But as you saw, I attached a skewer in between. Whenever you're doing that, there's just no way to completely get it flattened. So now I've got to fill that gap a little bit, although most of it will be covered, not all of it perhaps, especially from the bottom side. I used clay to begin with. It really wasn't liking how that looked, so I switched to hot glue to fill the gaps. After that, it's time to paint. I'm not real concerned about laying down thick coats of paint. I really was just painting to get a general idea of color. I did spend more time on the eyes, the nose, the hooves, because those are not going to be covered with a product. The rest of it will be covered with a product that I absolutely love, have used before on the reindeer to make them look very real and appear to have some hair. So that's next.
In the quiet evening, snow is falling, and from every window shines a light. Somewhere in the distance, drums are calling, but no one heeds their call tonight. As I walk through the streets of my old hometown, I hear sleigh bells ringing in the air. There are Christmas decorations all around. Tonight love and peace are everywhere. Christmas, oh Christmas, how we long for you. Christmas, oh Christmas, let your message once again ring true as you are bright and golden. Let it snow, let it snow. Bright and gold. Christmas, oh Christmas, how we long for you. Christmas, oh Christmas, the child is born anew.
This is a fancy schmancy carousel, so our little reindeer needs some fancy garb to go on top, saddles and a bridle.
But they hold nothing next to you, 'cause shining like no other. Ooh, I don't want what's wrapped in paper. No, I don't long for gifts of gold, but I'll be home for you. I'll be home for you. And I'll be home for you. I'll be home for you. Following the stars that lead me straight to you, to you. And though this long December night, only you can pull me through. Nothing wrong with cheers and carols. Oh, nothing wrong with sleigh bells in the snow. But I'll be home for you. Oh, I'll be home for you. Ooh, I'll be home for you. There is nothing else I wish for. Won't you make my dream come true? Let's not wait another year. Make me wish you were here. I'll be home for you.
Well, the final lap of this project is in view. At this point, I had threaded some twinkle lights up through the middle and top bases, then through the column, then through the holes that I had drilled in the top canopy. And now I'm just gluing the little battery packs to the bottom side, making sure the little tiny screws on those battery packs are faced up, so whomever purchases this, when they need to change the batteries, it's accessible. I've also had to go ahead and glue the reindeer in order to glue the top down. So what is left is putting the lights all in the little holes in the top canopy, and also doing the top canopy. Now, had a little mess up here. You will see in a minute. I had wound all the little lights, thought, oh, I was so clever to get those out of the way and wind them back up. And then right there, I discovered that one of my light packs had moved and attached itself to super glue, where I had added some super glue on the top where the reindeer were inserted. So that was a little bit frustrating and ends up being kind of messy looking, but in the end, it's not going to matter. All of this top will be covered up with the fabric canopy. The fabric canopy was a bit of a bugaboo. My first thought was to cut 14 triangles out of the material, sew them together, and make a tent topper that would look like most of them look. It was not working out. So what I ended up doing was cutting just a large circle. The diameter of the canopy is actually 12 inches. I cut an 18-inch circle, and then I ran gathering thread in the center and around the outer edge. And it's going to make it so much easier to apply it. I think it will still look nice, but it's just plain material. So I thought, well, how can I make this decorative? And I decided snowflakes. and Pentart's snow crystal paste throwing on a little diamond dust. You would think, with the dozens of molds I have, that I would be able to find one that would fit those cards and work out the way I had it envisioned. The other issue was that these cards are going to be spaced a hair over 1/8 of an inch apart. I didn't like the gap. I knew you'd see the material from the side there in the gap on the edges, and so I wanted something between those. Well, everything I found that I pieced together for that part was kind of thick, and so I felt like, well, I've got to have something that balances in terms of size, thickness, whatever on the card part. So I monkeyed around with so many things and finally decided, okay, this one here I'm messing with on the left is too much trouble. It is the right thickness, but there's too much cutting, especially for what I am going to be putting in the middle of it. But I'm showing you here, I used the Baubles mold for 2 of the pieces that are going to go in between the cards, and they're just like little end pieces from the Baubles mold. I like that. I decided to repeat that same circular leafy looking mold from the Dainty Flourishes that I had used on the perimeter of the base round and the top round where the reindeer go, which in the end you will see I end up not using that little round piece. But what I have done there on the left, it's a little too big and it's not going to work. So I ended up switching to one of my small molds and added a piece at the top to jazz it up and make it thicker.
I've got a mistletoe in my hand, and the boys are lining up for my kisses of one special guy.
It is done. The beast of a project. Thank you so much for watching this very long video. I wish you a very Merry Christmas.